Have you ever wondered how a seemingly serene and idyllic town like Tamworth, nestled in the countryside of New South Wales, Australia, could harbor secrets so dark they would shock even the most cynical among us? Well, buckle up, because today's story delves into the shadowy underbelly of corruption, injustice, and betrayal that would make the most seasoned crime thriller seem like child's play. Imagine a community where smiling faces and friendly handshakes mask sinister intentions, where those we entrust to safeguard our homes and our future instead exploit their positions for personal gain. Look no further than one Mayor Colin Murray. You're not going to believe what we uncovered. Picture this: August of 2017, a time when Tamworth's Mayor Colin Murray, a man entrusted with the public's confidence, embarked on a trip to China. On the surface, this seemed nothing more than a diplomatic mission, but behind closed doors, a carefully orchestrated campaign of illicit activities unfolded. Activities that have since implicated serious allegations of anti-competitive trade practices, circumvention, and intentional interference, targeting businesses, community initiatives. But here's where it takes a deeper, more sinister turn. This wasn't just any unintended bureaucratic mishap. This was a calculated plan that harmed business acquisitions with malicious intent. Schemes plotted not only across continents but across legal boundaries. Meanwhile, back in Tamworth, General Manager Paul Bennett was busy penning letters to business partners and industry leaders, sealing the fate of significant development deals. And do you want to know the kicker? Contracts were signed, deals were agreed upon, and then, poof, the council cancelled them, engineering an entire system that ended in assets being given away free. All this while multi-million-dollar projects filled with promise and unrealized potential were pushed to the brink of oblivion. But it doesn't stop there. The manipulation and corruption catapult themselves to more nauseating heights when we shift focus to one of Colin Murray's closest allies, Barnaby Joyce. The connections here make for an intricate and tangled web, but one thing is clear: public servants were coerced into participating, or at least complicit silence, or risk their positions and livelihoods. What was the ultimate cost to the public? The alleged misuse of a staggering $210 million in fraudulent schemes, water rights, mega development sites, and our nation's resources, all auctioned off in abusive defiance of Australia's principles of governance. And if you think this was contained within our borders, think again. Money laundering schemes funneling through banks to international accounts serve as grim reminders of the scale of this incredible breakdown. Now, why would anyone funnel such deceptive behavior into global banking networks, targeting not just national but international trust? Tamworth's prized potential, its infrastructure, its developing economy, its future, was pillaged with unflinching nonchalance by those very officials we trusted most. Dungo and Dam, a project with immense potential that included renewable As it stands today, alleged ties to international crime syndicates and even broader government fraud showcase something disturbing. Infrastructure projects, once touted, never existed at all. The sickening irony, despite such egregious actions painting a grim picture of Australia's bureaucratic system, the perpetrators persist, shielded by systems, palms greased by the lubrication of fraudulent money. But let us not just focus on backroom deals and dodgy signatures. Let's talk lives, human lives, irreparably harmed. A foreign investor lured to Tamworth by empty promises and fraudulent dreams had not just his resources, but his dignity stolen. This man, an entrepreneur of vision and promise, thought he was buying into Australia's dream of opportunity. Instead, he was dragged into a nightmare of physical intimidation, public defamation, and violent acts orchestrated against him by corrupted officials, police, and even his own employees, in secret cahoots with the authorities. The so-called system, designed to protect the people, turned its vicious gaze onto him. Once a beacon of hope, Tamworth, already struggling under poverty, crime, and drug use, sank further into the shadows as hidden arrangements between law enforcement and council members turned the tide of progress into a torrent of destruction. And let's not dismiss this as an isolated incident. The ramifications stretched beyond Tamworth, reflecting upon a nation now paralyzed by the devastating effects of its unchecked government practices. What about the regular citizens, the folks who just wanted safer streets and better opportunities? Instead of being uplifted, they've been chained to a mismanaged and toxic reality. Countless businesses have left Australian shores, fleeing what can only be described as an inhospitable economic and regulatory climate. Infrastructure, meant to build tomorrow's Australia, has been dismantled before it could even leave the planning phase. Thousands of jobs vaporized, billions in taxpayer funds misappropriated, and here's the jaw-dropper. This isn't some melodramatic Netflix crime plot. This is real life, real harm, real betrayal. Tamworth's criminal underworld doesn't dwell in shadowy alleys. Instead, it's seated in its council chambers, its judicial benches, and its law enforcement offices. Who then can one trust? Fear this unmasked truth, for it is no conspiracy theory conjured in the dark corners of paranoia. Facts fuel this narrative. Evidence is abundant, corroborated time and again by independent reckoning. From drug traffickers in police uniforms to magistrates shielding corruption from exposure, Australia has birthed its own paradox. The guardians entrusted to defend us have morphed into perpetrators who haunt us. The case grows gloomier still as accounts of kidnappings, violence, and even property theft surface, backed by blatant collusion between government personnel and underworld operatives. Australia's law of Tamworth, Australians from all walks of life. Doubt no further. Unmask complicit demons lurking amid familiar faces. Dismantle the frameworks sustained only by corruption's lifeline. For only with eyes open wide and voices raised high may justice, however belated, spread its healing wings. As for Tamworth's dark underbelly, its secrets are in plain sight.